Good morning. At this point in the liturgical year, we have entered into the season of Advent. And Advent is an amazing opportunity for us. This Advent will be unlike any Advent we've ever experienced before. Advent is the time, the 4 weeks rather, that mark the preparation period for Christmas. So we try during this time to orient ourselves a little bit more toward the celebration. But usually for us, Advent is it goes in a blur, really. It's filled with shopping and searching and purchases and food prep for the big day and the days that follow. And this year, without having that need for us, because of numbers spiking everywhere, officials are asking us to allow for the empty chairs around our table so that next year they can actually be filled by the people we would otherwise perhaps lose. It's sobering, but it's also the right thing to do. Advent, preparation, a time of, if you look it up, right, the definition in the dictionary is the arrival of a notable person or event. Sort of like the advent of television or the advent of a new year. With the advent of anything, the arrival of a notable person or event, comes anticipation. We get excited. We anticipate time with family. We anticipate what newness brings. And even during this time, there's an anticipation for the vaccine. There's an energy behind that. And that energy is something that we are very familiar with. And yet if we think about Advent and we think about anticipating, preparing for something that's already happened, perhaps we need to shift our focus a little bit. We aren't just focusing on the birth of Christ. We're focusing on the fact that God is with us every day. In fact, Emmanuel, the name, the word we hear so often during this season, God with us, God with skin on, God present every day of our lives. If we think about the anticipation that we feel for things that have already happened, we can easily make that parallel to our own lives. A second child, a second date, a second chance. We celebrate, we anticipate things that have already happened. So during Advent, we aren't just paying attention to historical facts. We're trying to set the soil of our hearts. We're trying to ready the soil. Preparing our hearts to welcome God at every turn, wherever the divine shows up. That we are ready, we have the eyes to see, and the soil of our hearts is receptive to whatever God wants to grow there. So Advent in 2020 is an opportunity for us to pray more intensely, perhaps. To maybe go for a walk and invite the divine, not just the dog, for a walk. Perhaps it means sitting in front of the lights, the Christmas lights in your home, or going for a drive and looking at the lights and allowing that anticipation, that simple joy, to fill your heart. Taking time to actually spend it with God this Advent is an opportunity we may never have in a similar fashion again. Imagine spending time paying attention to that deep, deep love that God has for you. Take the time. Make the time. This Advent is we're already in the second week. Not to worry. God is there. Emmanuel. Let's seize the moment.